Bhagavatam. And then how Srimad Bhagavatam is Lord Krishna himself. Sat Chit Ananda Rupa, the Lord himself, with Rupa, Guna, Leela, everything present in Srimad Bhagavatam. Padma Purana has endorsed that. And after that, just in 1 hour, we heard the whole essence summary of Srimad Bhagavatam. After that, we have heard the first canto, second canto, third canto, fourth canto, fifth canto, sixth canto. We are in sixth canto today, and we will be the flow of the sixth canto will end to start the flow of seventh canto in the next session. So this will be the last session on the sixth canto. In the sixth canto, we have sixth canto is about the portion of the Lord. The wonderful portion of the Lord, nourishment of the bhakti. Bhakti is the nourishment of the Lord in various forms. So in the first session, first part of the sixth canto, we have heard how Harinama gives the portion to the devotees. Even if the Harinama is taken involuntarily, inattentively, then also the Nama has it's going to have its effect. So Harinama Poshana through the Ajamila Charita we have heard. And second part was about the continuation of Visarga, where Daksha Prajapati has 10 daughters, and 10 daughters marry the rest of the Prajapatis, and then they populate the whole Brahmanda. The third part of the sixth canto is about Vishwarupa, Indra and Vishwarupa. How Brihaspati was angry and he left the Indra Sabha. Then Vishwarupa became the Guru, and after that Vishwarupa was killed by Indra again. Then Vritrasura is born when Tvashta does the yajna to bring a demon to kill Indra. Then Vritrasura was born. So we have heard about Vritrasura Charita. That was the last session. And when we heard about this Vritrasura, we came to know, not only we, even Indra was wondering, who are you? You don't seem to be an ordinary, you don't seem to be a demon at all in your behavior and in your glorious mood. You are not ordinary. You have already overcome so much of external illusory energy of the Lord. You are a great devotee. Who are you? That was Indra's question on the battlefield about Vritrasura. What to speak of us? Our question is the same thing. Who is this Vritrasura? Who was he before? Who is inside this Vritrasura's body? This is our question too. And this is the question of Parikshit Maharaj also. That was the glory and potency of this so-called demon Vritrasura on the battlefield. So Parikshit Maharaj was asking, we'll get into this the Katha soon, but what is it that is there for us in this Chitraketu Charita? We will be knowing that today. So Parikshit Maharaj was asking, generally these demons, they are personification of so much of ignorance and passion. And that too in the battlefield, they would be even more passionate and ignorant. What is this Vritrasura? He's nowhere close to the demon at all. He has surpassed the passion and then ignorance, and he was so peacefully situated in the midst of that battlefield and could utter those prayers that were filled with so much of yearning for the Lord, love for the Lord. This is not ordinary. So, can you please tell me who this Vritrasura was in his previous life? That's what Parikshit Maharaj asked. So here we will see who this Vritrasura was in his previous life. What made him bring to this point of devotion, which has culminated into the prayers, yearning prayers in the battlefield from the body of a demon. How potent was that bhakti that even if the body was demon filled with full of mode of ignorance and passion, even if the place was the battlefield, very much infused with a lot of ignorance and passion in the air, despite these, that prayers filled with full of yearning has come from a place of propelling devotion. Where did this come from? And how did this come from? So we will be hearing about the Charita of Chitraketu. Very much relevant to us, dear devotees. We will hear who the Chitraketu of King Chitraketu. How his thinking was so ordinary in the beginning. We will hear from his Charita. Then, where did the paradigm shift occur? What made the change in his life? That we will hear. And when that change was made, what is the result of that change? That we are going to hear from the Chitraketu Charita. And of course, the fourth one was his magnanimous qualities. After the change has happened, what are the magnanimous qualities? These are the four things that we are going to hear from the Chitraketu Charita today. Yeah. So we'll enter into the power of our favorite slide is here. Starting point. Are you able to see? No. Not yet.
No more thing.
Not yet, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Vritrasura. Chitraketu had to wait in the Vritrasura body for a very long time, Prabhu. So we also have to wait for this PowerPoint. Then only our devotion will come to its culmination. Let me break it down. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So this is the one, our favorite slide. We will also hear, we have just discussed that we'll hear about these 4 points, right? The fifth point, not to forget, the whole essence of 6th canto. How beautiful is the portion of Lord Hari. From the beginning till the end, in between, every step, how wonderful is the portion of Lord Hari going on. That we definitely want to hear. Okay. Now Parikshit Maharaj is asking. Sukadeva Goswami, what is this happening in this battlefield? This is a Rakshasa body. But the bhakti that is coming out from him is very glorious. This kind of bhakti is very rare. Now, there are 8,400,000 species. Out of that, how many are human beings? Actually, there are 400,000 species, human beings. And we think, what? Human being is only one variety, right? No. This is based on the subtle mentality, the subtle bodies of so-called the human forms. There are different mentalities there. So permutations and combinations of 3 modes, Sattva, Rajo, Tamo, Guna, different permutations of different modes and different combinations, they give rise to 8,400,000, right? That's 400,000 species. Okay. All of them look like human beings, but their subtle body, Sukshma Sarira, is different because of the combination of the modes. Okay. So there are 8,400,000 species. So many are human beings. And in that human beings, how many are pious? And in those pious people, how many are inquisitive for spirituality? And in those people who are inquisitive for spirituality, who are desiring to get liberated, and in those people who are desiring to get liberated, out of them, muktanam api siddhanam, narayana paraha. Narayana paraha. How many are the devotees of Lord Narayana, Krishna? Very rare, very rare. Muktanam api siddhanam narayana. Kotishu abhiseshu prasanta. And out of those devotees who are Narayana para, surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who are very peaceful at all times, like Rudrasura. He was super peaceful, as if nothing was happening on the battlefield, though he knows his defeat is destined, his death is destined. Not only he was super peaceful, he was so unstoppable to get out of his body. Yeah, this kind of devotion is very rare. So, O Guru Varya, Sukadeva Goswami, this devotion is very rare. And this person, Bhadrasura, has carried this devotion. Who is this Bhadrasura? Who was he before? Can you please answer? Then Sukadeva Goswami answers with affection. This is one more thing, dear devotees. You know, in this day and age of Google and YouTube and internet, even the spirituality, there is shopping going on in spirituality also. Window shopping, spirituality shopping, spiritual shopping. It means we get information. We get information from various channels, various YouTubes, various classes like that. That's not wrong. That is all good. Tatvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadikshanti te jnanam jnanina tattvadarshana. The pariprashna and seva has to be there to tattvadarshana, tattvadarshi guru. Guru who is realized. So there has to be personal service and tatvidi pranipatena pariprashna, seva. This pariprashna and seva are very crucial in spirituality. This is where there is need for in-person susrusha, service and submissive questioning in spirituality. This is indispensable, irreplaceable. We may be getting information from various channels, we may be getting knowledge, we may be getting answers to our questions. All that may be happening. Very good, very good. But tat vidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya is very crucial. That is the bridge that we stand on, literally stand on. And in that relationship of tat vidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya, the answer that comes out from Shri Guru or Gurujana is not like the answer that comes from the Google or YouTube. Google or YouTube is, we just type in and we get the answer. There is no emotion there. There is no relationship there. But in Tat Vidi Pranipatena, there is emotional exchange, relationship there. Sukadeva Goswami answers with affection to Parikshit Maharaj. Tene Brahma Hridayadikave Muhyanti Yasure. Tene Brahma Hridayadikave. Spirituality, the bhakti, the devotion was implanted, imported into the heart of the Brahma. So when there is tat vidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya, then the devotion that is carried in the heart of our Gurujana is implanted, imported into our heart. That's where the strength comes from the connection. Yeah? So that is important. It's very important. So Sukadeva Goswami, he heard the question of Parikshit Maharaj and he answers with affection. Google can show affection, YouTube can show affection. Only our Gurujana can show the affection. Then he says, Sukadeva Goswami, okay, Parikshit, my dear Parikshit, please listen with attention. I'll tell you about his story. This Vritrasura was Chitraketu before. King Chitraketu, he ruled entire earth. He had all the opulences of the king, all the palace, the wealth, not just one wife, two wives, three wives, 1,000 wives, but 1,000,000,000 wives. What? 1,000,000,000 wives? A king? Why? Because King Chitraketu had all these opulences, but he didn't have a son. And it's important for a king to have a son because only to his son he can make that son the prince, a king, do the Pattabhishekam, and then he can retire to the forest. So, because of that reason, Chitraketu, he wanted a son. He desperately wanted a son. And he has all the reasons to want a son. Please see this, dear devotees. He was a king. He was not happy. King ruled all over the entire earth, still not happy. Because he didn't have a son, because he has a reason not to be happy. We will find a reason not to be happy, right? He also had a reason not to be happy. Very relevant to us, that's why. Had everything, but one reason not to be happy. And that reason seemed to be very, very reasonable for him because he's a king and he had to have a son. So he can enthrone him and then he can go to the forest. Very reasonable, right? For the king. Our reasons also will be. Our reason to be unhappy are also they also sound very appropriate, very reasonable. Like that, King Chitraketu also had this reason. So he was full of anxiety. He was sad for this reason, that he doesn't have a son. Something very close to what we go through, right? Something or other. We will be unhappy, at least for one reason in life. Anxious, at least for one reason in life. Though everything else is not too bad. This king is also like that. And his reasons seem to be very, his cause for the anxiety and the sadness seems to be very reasonable. So then comes to his place Angira Rishi. Angira Rishi comes to King Chitraketu's palace. And he looks at Chitraketu. Chitraketu receives Angira Rishi very well. And then Angira Rishi scans him. These sages, saints, they can scan us. Their chitta is pure, so they can really know what we are thinking, where our consciousness is, where it is lingering. They can see it. So Angira Rishi also scanned Chitraketu. And then he said, oh, King Chitraketu, how are you doing? By the way, congratulations, King Chitraketu. You have such a wonderful empire and, the palace and this wealth. And is everything okay in the kingdom? Are your people in the kingdom okay? And like that, he asks questions. Everything relevant to the king. Then he says, yeah, because if everybody in your kingdom are happy, then you will be happy. If you are happy, then the king or everybody in your kingdom also will be happy. In this way, the happiness is mutually very dependent. So how is your royal affairs going on? This is Angira Rishi. He could have talked something else, but he did this talk to King Chitraketu. Then he says, you look like you are a little anxious and unhappy about something. Is there something, King Chitraketu? Is there something that is bothering you? Then Chitraketu says, oh, you are a perfect yogi, Angira Rishi. I mean, even if I don't tell you, you could just simply scan and tell me why, what I'm feeling and why I'm feeling. You would know it. But just because you have asked me, I'm saying it. You know my situation. Yes, I'm a king of this entire world, this Bhumandala. But still, I'm not happy because I don't have a son. And you know how much it means for a king not to have a son? How can all the Rana, how the Pitrana can be taken care of, and how the kingdom can be taken care of? There's so much that is tied up in having a son. So, Angira Muni, would you please make some sacrifice, perform some sacrifice for me, some yajna, and see that I can get a son, please? That's Chitraketu's request to Angira Muni. Second thing, also very much relevant to us, right? First of all, Chitraketu was disturbed. He found one reason in his life to be disturbed and unhappy. Second thing is, when these saints came to his place, and asking about well-being, the first thing that came out from his mind, from his mouth is, can you please give me this boon? That one thing is not there in my life. So if that one thing comes, then I will be happy. That was his thinking. So that one thing, son, that son element is not there in my life. So can you please see that I can get a son? All right? He asks. And then Angira Muni says, okay, just want to let you know, give you heads up, your son is going to be Harsha Soka. He's both Harsha and Shoka. Harsha is happy, Shoka is misery. He is going to be a cause for both of these things. Are you okay with that? Oh yeah, no problem. Harsha, Shoka. Shoka probably because he will be the only son of mine, and maybe he will be pampered, and he'll be pampered by so many of my wives, and maybe he'll be spoiled a little bit, and that might cause a little unhappiness to me. A pampered child, maybe a little unhappiness to me, but it's at least better to have a pampered child when compared to not having a child at all. So I am okay with this deal. I'll be happy. This Harsha Shoka deal is okay with me. Chitraketu says that. Can you recall something that we have heard so far? There was a king who had a son, and that son was so troublesome. The king ended up saying, oh my goodness, I would rather not have a son at all, instead of having this kind of son that is causing so much of pain to me and pain to others. Who was that? That was Vena. Vena was the son, right? Dhruva's descendant was Vena's, it starts with A, blanking on his name, but Vena was the son. Vena was the son. So Vena's father, so Vena's father, he says that those were his words, because Vena was so violent. He was causing so much of violence. Somebody please look up Vena's father. A starts with A. I'm unable to recall it. So that's the That's the king. He said those words. But here, Chitraketu, he says, oh, no problem. I'll take this deal. Harsha Shoka deal. Then, of course, they do the yajna. Here, Angira Muni, he does the yajna. And then Chitraketu, he takes the yajna phala, the payasam that comes from the yajna. And with his, the first wife, the very first wife, what her name is, Krutadyuti. She becomes pregnant. Okay. And a son was born. This son was born, and there was so-called joy in the palace. Chitraketu was so happy, so pleased, and he gave so much of charity. And after some time, Chitraketu's son dies. How does he die? Because this son, since Kritadyuti became pregnant, the first queen, the oldest one, she got pregnant. The rest of the queens, the 1 crore queens were there, right? 1 crore minus 1, whatever that number is. All that queens, they were very envious. They were thinking everybody, all this time, this King Chitraketu, he used to come to us. Now he's not even coming to us. He's spending all his time with this Kritadyuti and the only son that is born. So all the time is gone to his son and to the son's mother. Yeah. And so they were very restless and angry, and they decided to kill this little boy, a baby. They decided to kill him. So they give him the poison and the baby dies. And that's how the baby dies. Here, one thing is, all these wives here, the nature of envy. This is something to think about here. The nature of envy. This is in contrast to Mother Suniti. Yeah? Here, all these wives, their thought, their unhappiness, and their pain is because of this little baby that is born. Okay. So they attributed their pain to somebody outside. So they thought they are victims. They are going through the pain because there's a culprit outside causing the pain. Victim, culprit. This is the nature of envy. Okay. And because one feels victim here in the envy mentality, then they see the culprit outside. Unlike, and of course, then what happens when there is envy there? Yeah. Then they lose their intelligence. They become extremely hard, and they don't care what happens to this so-called culprit in their mind. They don't mind harming them. They don't mind hurting them to any extent. These are the mechanics of envy. Yeah. How much harm are we doing to the other person? The degree of the harm may vary, but the mechanics of envy is this. Very much in contrast to Mother Suniti. When Dhruva wanted to sit on the lap of Uttanapada, when Suruchi insulted Dhruva, Dhruva came running to his mother Suniti, and Suniti was so, Bhagavatam said that she felt like, the leaves, burnt leaf. That's how she felt. It means she was very much inflicted with the pain that was caused by Suniti because of her words. Very much inflicted with the pain. with her behavior to Dhruva. But she did not point her finger outside. What she immediately turned Dhruva. She immediately reminded Dhruva and warned him not to point fingers outside at all. That's the first thing she did. Because her consciousness was filled with Krishna. She was Krishna consciousness. She said, oh dear son, whatever happens to us is because of our own karma. We shouldn't be pointing our fingers to anybody. But we have a shelter. That's Lord Vishnu. These two things she could say. Mother Suniti, don't point the fingers out. It is our own thing to settle. We have to settle it within ourselves. It's our own karma. And we don't have to be feeling so bad. We have shelter of Lord Vishnu. These two things. So this is Krishna consciousness. Not pointing out fingers to others. Seeing things as a need for correction within ourselves. And turning to the Lord for any help that we need. This is Krishna consciousness in practicality. But unlike Mother Suniti, all these queens here, they didn't have Krishna consciousness. If we don't have Krishna in our consciousness, then we will have the 6 dirts of our mind. Yeah, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya. These things will take the seat. If Krishna is not sitting in our consciousness, the dirt sits in our consciousness. Here the dirt is envy. And when the envy sits in the consciousness, the consequences, the violence outside. When Krishna sits in our consciousness, the same situation, there is no violence outside. It's only auspiciousness inside because they take shelter of Krishna, and only auspiciousness outside. Because of Mother Suniti, Dhruva had darshan of Lord Narayana. She directed him to take shelter of Lord Narayana. And because she had Krishna in her consciousness, she took shelter of the Lord. She could change Uttanapada and Surichi also over a period of time with her qualities of sadhvi, with her saintly qualities. Where is she getting all these saintly qualities from? Because of the devotion that she has within, because of the shelter that she's taking from. So that's the difference. Envy can be replaced only by Krishna. Yeah. So that's the dynamics of envy and the solution for envy. And then so they were envious and they gave the poison. And Krutatyuti, she starts crying. The baby was dead. Here the baby, this is later after this baby is brought back to life. But the baby was dead, and Krutatyuti cries, the mother, and she was mad. She was angry with the Lord, mad. And she says, how foolish are you? Oh Lord, oh controller, can you take away somebody's life so quickly? Yeah. So she was very mad with the Lord, and she speaks very harshly to the Lord. And then she goes, what's the point of talking to this foolish Lord? Okay, son, I am talking to you now. Please come back to life. Come back to life. So Mother Krutatyuti, she was in a lot of pain because her baby died. A lot of pain. But still, she was addressing the Lord. As long as we are turning to the Lord, that is our protection. Sometimes our bhakti can be, in this case, Krutatyuti. She was still performing bhakti because she was addressing Lord. But she was not really throwing flowers on him. She was throwing harsh words on the Lord. So that's bhakti in ignorance. because of the pain she was going through. But still, it was bhakti. Yeah. So, and later on, of course, Kritadyati, we will see how she will be transformed. So in this way, Kritadyati was also very much lamenting. And then Chitraketu, he comes there finding out the news. He looks at the dead baby. He falls unconscious, shocked. I mean, that's when, in this state of mind, when everybody is lamenting, when Chitraketu is shocked and cannot move a bit, fell on the floor, then comes Angira and Narada Muni began to the spot. And this time, looking at Chitraketu, Narada Muni and Angira says, "O King Chitraketu, why are you so disturbed? What is the relationship between you and this dead baby now? Was that relationship existing before? And will this relationship be like that in the future?" Yeah. See, the sand, when somebody walks in the sand, yeah, on the sand, with the force of the waves that comes from the ocean, the sand particles that were together before, they can go apart because of the force of the wave that comes. So this is the nature of the relationships of this world. With the force of the time, they can break apart. And by the way, even if the parents are there, they can only give body to the child. The soul doesn't belong to the parents. All these people coming together and going, this is all like the Lord's play. When a boy plays with the toys, like a train toy, you put the little wagons together, and then he takes the wagons apart like that. So like a little boy playing with a toy, Lord also plays like that. And all these designations are imaginary. Whatever designations that we have, that because of the body, they are temporary and imaginary. So what relationship do you have with this dead body, dead child now? Did this relationship exist in the past? Is this relationship going to be in the future? Don't you see that you're going through so much of pain now? And you know why? You have to realize what relationship is permanent here. What you're going through is because of the effect of relationships that are temporary. And you have to see a relationship that is permanent. He says that. And Chitraketu recovers a little bit, and says, who are you? Because your words seem to be giving some solace to me. You are dressed like avadutas, but the knowledge that is coming out from you is bringing some strength and solace to me. Who are you? Then they say, and then Angira Muni says, see, I am Angira, and I gave you the sun. In the beginning, I wanted to give you this knowledge when I came here, but you were so much absorbed in having a son for you. You thought all your happiness, all your unhappiness would go away and you will be happy just by having a son. You were not ready for that instructions at that time. And that's why I gave you that son. But now you seem to be ready for the instruction. You are understanding what the misery is, what the pain is, when one gets attached to something in this world. And he says, oh, king, not just this child, this wife, this palace, and everything that you have, the kingdom, everything, they are also very much temporary like this child. What all you are seeing outside, the people outside, the things outside, they are all related to your body. Your body is the product of your mind. Because your subtle body was filled with the thoughts of this material world, you ended up getting this body. Because you have this body, you have relationship with these people and things and everything outside. Okay. So mind is the cause of actions, and body is the source of all miseries. So whatever you see now that you have here, the kingdom, everything, they are like Gandharva Nagara. Gandharva Nagara is somebody walking through a forest and imagining that there is a palace in the forest. It doesn't exist. So though you have all these things now, they are very temporary. Now you understand the misery of what it feels like to lose a child, because he's so much related to your body. Same will be the misery with anything that you may lose outside that is related to your body. So wake up. Your relationship is not with the things that are related to the body. Your relationship, you as a soul, your relationship is with the Supreme Lord. Wake up, King Chitraketu. This is your this is your wake up call. So please wake up. You are a great devotee of the Lord. Don't get caught up in these material attachments. So please wake up. And Narada Muni says, now I will give you the Sankarshana mantra. So you take this Sankarshana mantra, and within 7 days and nights, if you do the upasana of this mantra, you will be getting the darshan of Lord Sankarshana. Narada Muni says that. Yeah. And after that, as a closure to this event that is going on here, 14, 15, 16, next PowerPoint. 16. So Narada Muni says that, and he said, I will give you the Sankarshana mantra. And then he, as I said, just as a closure, he will bring the dead boy, the baby, back to life. He will make the dead baby talk to Chitraketu. And this is not only to bring a closure to Chitraketu, but also for the rest of all these wives that are grieving and crying. They did not get out of their grief and shock yet. King Chitraketu is slowly getting out of the grief. He's able to greet the sages again and is able to receive their instructions again, but not the ladies in the palace yet. So Narada Muni, he brings this baby back to life. There, so this dead son is brought back to life, and this jiva is now alive. And Narada Muni says, okay, oh jiva, these are your parents, and they're all lamenting for you. Do you want to tell them something? Narada Muni says that, and jiva says, Which parents are you talking about? I have had so many lives in the past. As a dog, as a cat, and so when I was a dog, I had dog parents. When I was a cat, I had cat parents. So I had many lives in the past and I had many parents. Which life is this now and who are my parents? And by the way, like, like the money that is money and gold that is being transferred from hands to hands, hands to hands, hands to hands, like that, it does not stay at one place. In the same way, jiva is being transferred from one body to the other, one body to the other, one body to the other with transmigrations. So which bodies are you are talking about? Which parents are you talking about? Which body are you talking about? So this is how the jiva starts speaking, and he says the jivas. Then he starts speaking about the qualities of the jiva, how the jiva is prone to maya, but the Supreme Lord is not prone to maya. So that's why jiva is supposed to turn towards the Supreme Lord. So this jiva, he also gives some instructions, and he also gives some jnana, and then he goes, and then he leaves that place again. Again, the sun becomes dead. But by this time, all these queens, all these queens in the palace, they come out of their shock, and with the words that they heard from this baby, the mother recovers a little bit, and everybody else also recovers, and the final funeral ceremony was done for the little baby, and the co-wives, all of the rest of the queens, they were very much ashamed that they killed the baby, and they will do some prayaschitta ceremony, and all that was done. But Ch14-19 is a different person now. After Narada Muni spoke about the reality of the nature of these material attachments and brought the memory of how the soul is supposed to be connected, is supposed to be turning towards the Lord, because it's only the connection of the soul to the super soul is eternal, and rest of the connections are material and are prone to cause fear, anxiety, and lamentation. When he received this knowledge from Narada Muni, and after he said that he would give that mantra, Sankarshana mantra, Ch14-19 life was changed. And Bhagavatam Sukadeva Goswami says, Ch14-19 came out of dark well of family life, like an elephant coming out of the muddy water. And then, so King Ch14-19, then he bathed, he got ready, and he got the Narayana mantra, the Sankarshana mantra from Narada Muni. And he does the upasana of that mantra. In 7 days and nights, he will have darshan of Lord Sankarshana. And before going to this, just wanted to mention this. King Ch14-19 and whatever Narada Muni has said, this material attachments, they are the cause of anxiety, lamentation, and misery. That is anxiety, lamentation, and misery, material attachments. So when those attachments are material, in the sense when there is no Krishna in those attachments, they can be anxiety, lamentation, and misery. But when the very same attachments are Krishnized, then the other persons, they become devotees. So then there is no anxiety, lamentation, or unhappiness in those attachments, because they are Krishnized. They are given to Krishna. They are given to Krishna. They are not ours anymore. So when they are given back to who they belong to, the proprietor, then there is no anxiety. Then the relationship is only a relationship of service and detachment. Yeah, while we get attached to Krishna, that's something we wanted to talk about. And then yes, now King Chitraketu, after getting the Sankarshana mantra, Lord Sankarshana appears and he blesses King Chitraketu. So with the result of Sankarshana mantra, the primary result was he got the bhakti shelter of Lord Sankarshana. And the secondary gain that he got was he got the planet of Vidyadhara. He could get the Adipatya, proprietorship on the planet of Vidyadhara, rule planet of Vidyadhara. These are the two things. And it's a beautiful thing. How was Lord Ananta Sankarshana looking like? Like a white water lily wearing a blue cloth, a glittering helmet, armlets, belt, bracelets, and a smiling face. That's Lord Sankarshana. Chitraketu had darshan of Lord Sankarshana. And then, of course, Chitraketu offered his prayers. All these prayers, when a devotee offers the prayers, there is Bhagavad Tattva, and how we are Jiva, and how we are fallible, and how Bhagavan is our shelter, and he is the source of everything. Everything arises from him. So King Chitraketu's prayers were like that. And at the end, he says, King Chitraketu says, I could have this darshan only because of the mercy of those sages and Narada Muni who gave me this mantra. And that point Lord Sankarshana confirms. He says, yes, only because you followed Narada Muni and Angira, you became perfect in transcendental science and you are able to see me now. That point Lord Sankarshana confirms. Because you followed Narada and Angira, the purified souls. Follow them. Follow the purified souls. Exactly. Follow their instructions. Follow their mood. Imbibe their mood. They will take us to where they came from. Mahajanayena gatassa panta. Panta is the path. Yeah? Simply follow the path of Mahajanas. There is nothing new that we have to think or discover or invent or thought. Nothing. Simply follow them. Understand what they're saying. Imbibe their mood. Follow their instructions. Engage in the seva. Okay. So, yeah, Lord Sankarshana also says that. And then after that, he says, okay, you continue to broadcast, engage in the devotional service and broadcast my glories. And by my mercy, you will be achieving me, coming to me at the end of this life. He says that, and Lord Sankarshana disagrees. In this way, King Chitraketu got darshan of Lord Sankarshana. So far, what we have seen was how King Chitraketu was so ordinary in his thinking. Oh, I don't have a son. This is the reason I'm sad, etc. He was ordinary, right? But how his paradigm shift happened, how he got transformed. All the reasons, the son was the reason, not having the son was the reason for the unhappiness. But that did not bother him anymore because he transcended that. Paradigm shift by the sages will help us transcend our reasons for unhappiness in this world. Yeah. And after that, after having the Sangha of that pure realized souls, his priority was different. Before meeting the realized souls, his priority and thought was the sun and the kingdom. But after meeting these sadhus, his priority was Sankarshana mantra. Priorities shift. This is the effect of sadhus. Sadhu Sangha is supposed to do this. Our priorities change. When the priorities change, whatever was troubling us before, they don't trouble us anymore. That's what happened to King Chitraketu here, right? When the priorities change, the focus and attention gets sharpened. And then the result is he had the darshan of Lord Sankarshana. Yeah? Paradigm shift by the sadhu sangha, sages. And when the priorities change, then the result is achieved. Same thing for us. With the sadhu sangha, our priorities change. When the priorities change, the results also will be changed, right? It was sorrow before, and now he has transcended that sorrow. So like that. And then what happened after he had darshan of Lord Sankarshana? As instructed by Lord Sankarshana, he was ruling the Vidyadhara planet, and he was glorifying Lord Sankarshana by traveling in the Vimanas, and with the ladies of Vidyadhara Loka. So one time when he was doing that, he saw Lord Shiva. This is 16. I'll go to the last PowerPoint. 17th. So that's Lord Shiva and Mother Parvati, King Chitraketu. So he was doing his Sankirtan in the plains, in the Vimanas. He also had his wives from Vidyadhara Loka. So one day he happens to go to Lord Shiva's place. There he saw Mother Parvati sitting in the lap of Lord Shiva. And in that condition, Lord Shiva was talking to all these sages here, including Narada Muni. He was speaking about the transcendental subject matters to these sages, including the Narada Muni. And King Chitraketu, he saw this from his aeroplane. And he says, "What? Lord Shiva? I mean, a husband embracing a wife is not wrong, but it is done privately, not in a public place like this. And that too, speaking about this matters of, transcendental subject matters, and that too to all the sages here. Oh, I don't want anybody to think inappropriate of Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is great, but if anybody sees in this position, because he's making his wife sit in his lap, I don't want anybody to think less about Lord Shiva." That's what Chitraketu thinks. And he says, "You are Loka Guru, and you are the speaker of religion. You are chief of all living entities, and you have undergone so much austerities and penances. You have all these great qualifications. But if you are, you have your wife on your lap and you're talking about these matters publicly. Is this okay? So he raises that concern, Chitraketu. And when Chitraketu says this not just once, but more than once. So three things. Chitraketu raised a concern, objection on Lord Shiva more than once in front of all the sages. Okay, that's what Chitraketu did. His intention was nobody should really misunderstand Lord Shiva just because Bhavani is sitting in his lap. So that was his intention, but he did this. And then Lord Shiva, he smiled at Chitraketu's word and he kept silent. All the assembled members there, including Narada Muni, they were also silent. Yeah, this is unlike, Daksha, when he was cursing Lord Shiva, he was very envious. He was insulting Lord Shiva. So everybody had to really walk away from there. So Chitraketu's intention is not to insult Lord Shiva. His intention is like nobody should really misunderstand Shiva. So since his intention is not evil, Lord Shiva just smiled, and everybody else also, they didn't have any objection because intention was not evil. But Mother Parvati, she got mad at Chitraketu. Why is it like that? Because Chitraketu, though his intention is not really evil or bad, he could think that he could say something like this to Lord Shiva. Just because both of them are the devotees of Lord Sankarshana, Chitraketu could think, oh, I could say this to Lord Shiva. And that too in front of everybody sitting there. And that too repeatedly. So he thought like that unconsciously. So there was an element of pride in King Chitraketu. Yes, he's so much advanced by this time, but there was a little element of pride that he could do this, he could think like that, and he could talk like that to Lord Shiva. And Srila Prabhupada explains that this is the Lord's arrangement, that Chitraketu was made like this, and we will understand that soon why. But because there is an element of a little pride, Mother Parvati, she gets angry at Chitraketu by the way he was talking to Lord Shiva. She says, oh, look at somebody here. Somebody is here to punish. Somebody is here to punish and rule shameless persons like us. Brahma, Bhrigu, Narada Muni, everybody, even Narada is sitting here. They didn't have any reason to stop Lord Shiva from speaking, but this person, Chitraketu, he comes here to stop Lord Shiva. How impudent is he? He's surpassing the demigods also, and is insulting Lord Shiva. He is puffed up. He thinks he's very important. He doesn't deserve the shelter of Lord Vishnu's lotus feet. Okay. Oh, son, I'm cursing you that you become a demon, so you don't offend exalted men again. Mother Parvati curses King Chitraketu like that. She gets angry. Lord Shiva did not get angry, but she got angry. Then immediately Chitraketu says, oh, mother, I accept your curse. And these words are very significant also. King Chitraketu, he did not retaliate the curse. Immediately says, oh, mother, I accept your curse. Happiness and distress, they are just given by the demigods because of the result of past deeds. It's not you. It is not you that is at mistake, and neither am I. And he also says these beautiful ones. What is this? What is there in this world? It is only because of the influence of the modes one thinks that somebody else is hurting and somebody else is being hurt. Nobody is responsible for this. The only thing that is responsible for all these experiences in this world is the river of modes, Guna Pravaha. In this river of modes, Guna Pravaha, what is happiness? What is sadness? What is a curse? What is a praise? And this, in this Guna Pravaha, so there is no distinction between happiness or praise or sadness or unhappiness. It's just simply Guna Pravaha, the modes, ocean of modes flowing in this material world. And this Jiva is the Amsha of the Bhagavan. And Bhagavan is very neutral. He's impartial. Lord is beyond all dualities. These gunas, the modes bring the dualities, but the Lord is beyond all the dualities. And the Jiva is an Amsa of the Lord. And the Lord is neutral to everybody. And so I accept your curse because it is simply a part of the Guna Pravaha. And I will not ask you to take this curse back. Also, please pardon if you are hurt by my words, but I had no ill intention. Chitraketu says this, and he leaves from that place. Then Lord Shiva, he looks at Mother Parvati. She says, "Oh Parvati, you look so beautiful. Oh beautiful Parvati, did you see the glory of the Vaishnava? Huh? When you cursed, he was not afraid. He did not retaliate. He still offered respect to you. He called you mother, and he accepted the curse. Since you have cursed him with anger, and he did not even retaliate to your curse is useless. Did you see the glory of a Vaishnava? Yeah. And you cursed him to be a Rakshasa. But these devotees, O Parvati, Narayana Parasarve, Nakutaschana Bhibyati, Swargapavarga Narkeshu, Apitulyartha Darshana. These are all Narayana Para. All these devotees who take shelter of the lotus feet of Narayana, Na Kutaschana Bhibyati, Na, never, Kutaschana, anytime, Bhibyati, fear. They don't have fear. Swarga, heavenly planets, Apavarga, liberation, Narakeshu, hellish planets, all of them. Apitulyartha Darshana, they care less about any of this. Swarga, Apavarga, Swarga, liberation, or hellish planets, all of them, they don't care about any of these things. It doesn't matter to them because they are always in the shelter of lotus feet of Narayana. And he says, these devotees, he's including Chitraketu and himself, Lord Shiva. He's saying that they're free from attachment. These are the final closing words, dear devotees. They're free from attachment and envy, peaceful and equal to everyone. So don't be astonished that King Chitraketu, he did not get disturbed at all with your curse. Not only that, he accepted the curse. And this is the glory of the devotees. And Lord Shiva says that. And that's how King Chitraketu ends up being Vritrasura in the next life. And in this interim period, Ch14-19 could not wait to go to the place of the saints. The Narada Muni that gave him the Sankarshana mantra. So in the Vritrasura body, that's where all the devotion was springing from, because Ch14-19 could not wait anymore. He accepted the curse of Mother Parvati. He was sitting inside this huge demoniac body. And this is why Srila Prabhupada said that this is an arrangement of the Lord. Whatever has happened, the curse of Mother Parvati is to be in that demonic body. So his laulyam can increase so much to go to his destination. So this is the beauty of the Poshana of the Lord. From the beginning till the end. From the beginning, Ch14-19, when he wanted the sun, the Poshana of the Lord started from there. Angira Muni came. He saw that Ch14-19 was not ready for any spiritual knowledge. Okay, the sun was given, and then he was made realize. When he got an idea of there is nothing in this material world, he got an experience of there is nothing in this material world that can give him happiness, and anything materially attached would be giving him misery. Then he was ready for the spiritual knowledge. Then the Poshana continued. Then the transcendental knowledge came. And then Narada Muni gave the Sankarshana mantra. That is also Poshana, how the nourishment is beautifully continuing. And then he made the final arrangement for Ch14-19 to come back to his realm quickly, without any delay. So he made this arrangement of so-called curse from Mother Bhavani. Yeah? And Ch14-19 did not get disturbed at all. And his intensity was only building up inside to go back to Godhead, to the place of Sankarshana, while he was in the body of the demon. Same as Jada Bharata. When Bharata was in the deer body, his intensity was building up. And when he was in the Jada Bharata, he couldn't wait anymore. So these arrangements, final arrangements of the Lord, though it looks like an obstacle from outside, since they are the arrangements of the Lord, this is to bring them back to the spiritual realm quickly. The total purification, whatever little bit is left over, the vasana of the anardas, whatever is left over, everything purified, and then getting back to spiritual realm. So in this way, the Poshana continued throughout the life of Ch14-19, during the transition, during the curse also. And then in the body of Vritrasura, and Poshana continued in the battlefield also. And ultimately, that's how Vritrasura was delivered on the battlefield, and his soul went towards Sankarshana Loka. That's the Poshana of the Lord. In all forms. In all forms. From the beginning till the ending. Waiting until we are ready. Coming in the form of the saints, Sadhu Guru, by different kind of arrangements that happen in our life. Some may be so-called happy, some may be so-called unhappy, but the Poshana is still being continued. In the body of Ch14-19, Poshana continued, and in the body of Vritrasura also Poshana continued. Though the body has changed from the king to the demon, the spiritual journey was continuing and intensifying to go back to the spiritual realm. That's the Poshana of the Lord in so many forms at different times. Yeah? So that's the Poshana. That's Ch14-19. That's the 6th canto. And just an FYI note is 18th and the 19th chapter is about, that's a quick 1 minute FYI, I think. 18th and 19th. In the last, this is for the completeness of the 6th canto. So we have heard about Chitraketu. The last part was portion of Diti. Here, the Katha is during the Visarga, Parikshit Maharaj, he heard the answer of who that Vritrasura was in previous life. He heard about Chitraketu, all was done. And his last question was, okay, you were explaining about Aditi's descendants, Aditi's sons, who are called Adityas. And then you were explaining about Diti's sons. You said Diti had Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu, and also Maruts. You also said this Maruts, they have demigod qualities. How come these Maruts became demigods when they were born from Diti? That was the question of Sukadev, Parikshit Maharaj to Sukadev Goswami. So to quickly answer that question, Sukadev Goswami says, oh yeah, it's because when Diti was very upset that her two sons, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, they were killed by the Lord. Yeah, Varahadeva killed Hiranyaksha and Narasimhadeva killed Hiranyakashipu. Just because Indra prayed to the Lord and wanted to get rid of the these demoniac activities on the earth planet, just as an answer to Indra's prayer, Lord has descended to kill my two sons, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. So I want to kill Indra. I want to have a son that can kill Indra. That was Diti's desire. And then she asked Kashyapa, her husband, I want to have a son that can kill Indra. Then Kashyapa thinks, oh, that's not so good. Then he comes up with a plan. Okay, no problem. What you can do is you do this Pumsavana Vrata, right? That's the Vrata. Yeah, Pumsavana. So this Pumsavana Vrata, that's the Vrata of Lord Lakshmi Narayana. So you do this Vrata for 1 year, and if the Vrata goes well for 1 year, yes, then you will have a son that can kill Indra. If the Vrata doesn't go well, then you will have a son that will be killed by Indra. Kashyapa says that. Then Diti tries to follow this Pumsavana Vrata diligently. Then Indra comes down. Indra comes down and Indra comes down and as a small boy and comes, oh, Mother Diti, it looks like you're going through some austerities and some doing some vrata. I want to help you. I want to serve you. Then Diti says, okay, yes, you can help me, serve me. And so Indra was following her closely to see where she can go wrong. So at one point, Diti, at one night, I think she does not wash her mouth and sleep, something like that happens. So she has broken the vow of Pumsavana Vrata. At that time, Indra, who was there, he goes into the womb of Mother Diti and then slices the embryo into 7 pieces. And then these embryos, they become alive and they say, oh no, what are you doing? Then he slices the 7 embryos 7 times again. So all of them are like 49 of them in the womb of Mother Diti. And all of them are still alive. And they're like, what are you doing this to us? Are we not your brothers? Okay. Then Indra decides to make all these 49 babies his brothers, demigods. Yeah. So after Diti wakes up and then she finds out there's 49 sons and Indra was standing there and Indra says what has happened. When Diti fell asleep, that he went into the womb and cut them into pieces, but he's wanting all these 49 sons of Diti to accept them as demigods. Then Diti was happy. Oh, okay, my sons became demigods. That's a good deal. That's what Diti thinks. So that is because this was more like a win-win thing. Indra was not killed, and Diti's sons also became demigods. And this is because Diti was doing Pumsavana Vrata, which is the Vrata of the Lord Vishnu. So, though her intention was to kill Indra, since she took shelter of Lord Vishnu through the Vrata, Lord decided to give Poshana, to give nourishment to whoever takes shelter of him. And in this way, all these Marus became demigods. That was the answer Sukadeva Goswami came to Parikshit Maharaj of how Marus who are born from the womb of Diti became demigods. That's the end of the 6th canto, dear devotees. So, to quickly summarize. 6th canto, we have summarized that in the beginning only. The first part was the Harinama Poshna. Second part was Visarga, where all the whole creation, the Brahmanda was filled with creation. Third part was about Vishwarupa and Indra. And the fourth part was about Vritrasura Charita that we heard in the last session. And today was about Chitraketu, who was born as Vritrasura. And in today's session, we have heard about how Chitraketu was Chitraketu's ordinary thinking. Though he was a king, his thinking was ordinary, right? There was a cause for him to worry about. And after that, how the saintly association, the Sangha of the Sadhus, has caused the paradigm shift, has transformed him, and where his priorities have changed, right? So he took up the Sankarshana mantra. Before meeting the Sadhus, his priority was the sun and the kingdom. After meeting the Sadhus, his priority was the mantra, Sankarshana mantra. And how he can transcend the dualities, how his miseries, he could overcome the miseries by taking shelter of the sadhus and following their instruction and taking the Narayana or the Sankarshana mantra that we have heard. And by the Sankarshana mantra, go to our favorite slide and do that. Yeah, that's the Sankarshana mantra. Lord Sankarshana appears within 7 days and nights. Yeah. And then there he offers Chitraketu. King Chitraketu offers all the prayers. And Lord Sankarshana confirms that, yes, he got the darshan. Chitraketu got the darshan of Sankarshana because he was following the great saints that is there. And after that, Vidyadharas, he was ruling Vidyadhar Loka and happens to go to the Shiva Loka where Mother Parvati was sitting in the lap of Lord Shiva. There, his intention in saying those words to Lord Shiva was not wrong, not evil. So Lord Shiva just smiled. Everybody in the assembly smiled. But there was an small element of pride, and that needed to go away completely before he can come back to the spiritual realm. So Lord made an arrangement that Mother Parvati curses him and he gets into a asura body where he can have intense yearning to come to the lotus feet of Lord Hari and then serve him under the guidance of the sadhus. So that was Lord's arrangement, as Srila Prabhupada said. And in that context, we have heard how Chitraketu was accepting the curse of Mother Parvati. He was saying, neither the jiva, whoever is inflicted, or the inflictor, nobody is the reason for this. It is only the guna pravaha. It's only the modes that are active in this world. The jivas are simply passively getting the effect from the modes. And so in this guna pravaha, ocean of gunas, there is no happiness and sadness. or curse and the praise all are the same. They're just a part of the ocean of modes. And the reality is the jiva belongs to Bhagavan. Bhagavan is beyond the modes. And Bhagavan is neutral to everybody. So he says that and says, Mother Parvati, I did not mean to hurt you, but if you got hurt, please accept my apology and do not take the curse. I will accept it. And then he leaves. And then Lord Shiva looks at Mother Parvati and says how exalted all these Vaishnavas that they don't get agitated. And it doesn't matter to them if it is Varga or liberation or lower planetary systems. All that matters to them is Narayana Para, shelter of the lotus feet of Lord Hari, to serve the lotus feet of Lord Hari. That's all matters to them. Those are the closing words of Lord Shiva to Mother Parvati. So that's about Chitraketu and Vritrasarana. And we also heard about Aditi's sons, Maruts, who also became demigods because of the Diti taking shelter of Lord Narayana through Pumsavanavata. Okay. That is the devotees. 6th canto down. So we'll pause here. Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Jayata. Shri Prabhupada Ki Jaya. Can't believe half of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Pravaha, that halfway